Today, you're going to learn English with the Terminator himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is a short clip from an interview he gave on the Tim Ferriss podcast. And in this clip, he talks about some really interesting things like the importance of serving other people, working hard, and being resilient. Before we start, though, if you're new here, I've created this channel to help intermediate and advanced learners of English communicate with more confidence, more accuracy, more clarity, and more awareness. If this sounds like something you want for yourself and your English, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single new video. Also, don't forget to check out my new pronunciation course available on pre-sale at a very special discounted price. This is a course designed to help you better understand the main connected speech patterns that native speakers use whenever they speak fast in movies, series, podcasts, and in real life. And also, this course will teach you the main sounds of the English language so you can speak with more clarity, more flow, and more fluency. The course is available on pre-sale at a very special price. Link in the description and also has a pinned comment down below. But now, let's get started with the interview. All right, so let's get started here with the interview. This is Tim Ferriss, by the way, guys. He has perhaps one of the largest podcasts ever. It's really cool. He interviews many people. I'm going to leave the link to this whole interview here with Arnold in the description of the video as well, so you can watch it in its entirety. It's like, 1 hour and 17 minutes of interview. It's really interesting, okay? But let's watch this part here. Let's get started here.
So this is kind of how I started to realize that if you work your ass off, you can really accomplish a lot of things. That's why my book, Be Useful, I put in there, this is as a main chapter, is just work your ass off.
Work your ass off.
Nice. So this is an expression, guys. To work your ass off is an informal way to say work hard. Work your ass off. That's an informal way to say work hard, don't be lazy. Arnold, when that interview came out, he had just published, or he was about to publish, his new book called Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. Okay, so I'm also going to leave a link to the book in the description of the video in case you are interested in checking it out and buying it. But basically, he shares in this book some of his life knowledge, experience, and wisdom to live a better life. Okay, so let's continue here.
And we're definitely directly going to segue to Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. This title, Be Useful, could you explain, and that's probably ties into similar chapters around the story around earning money and working your ass off in your younger years. Where did this title come from, Be Useful?
It comes from my father.
Nice, guys. Now he's going to talk a little bit about his experience with his father growing up and some of the things that his father instilled into him, okay? I've already explained that word before here. When a parent instills an idea, a principle into a child, the father, the parent in this case, slowly teaches this principle, this idea, okay? Usually over a period of time as the child grows up. So let's listen to Arnold now, talking a little bit about his father and how his father approached life in many ways.
He would always say that. And his whole attitude always was, whatever you do, try to serve the people. Try to do something good for your community or for your family.
Very nice, right, guys? Whatever you do, try to serve the people. Serve the people in your community, in your family, in your city, right? You can start small, right? Maybe with your social circle, your family. And then if you get good enough, you can expand to your community, to your city, to the world, maybe. Nowadays with the internet, it's possible if you have an online presence. So that is really cool. Yeah, whatever you do, serve other people.
Don't just think about yourself. That's why my father was so heavily kind of against bodybuilding. Because he felt like that what he was called, this is Selbstfrönung. Selbstfrönung, which means you're kind of like glorifying and you're treating yourself rather than worrying about others.
Guys, he did use here a very nice collocation. He said that his father was heavily against bodybuilding. Let me just go back here a little bit. That was really cool. Look.
try to serve the people. Try to do something good for your community or for your family. Don't just think about yourself. That's why my father was so...
You see, that's why my father was so heavily you can't eliminate kind of here. It's kind of a filler word. So that's why my father was so heavily against bodybuilding. I like that. When you are heavily against something, like you are against something with intensity, right? Really interesting.
So heavily kind of against bodybuilding because he felt like that what he was called, this is Selbstfrönung. Selbstfrönung, which means you're kind of like glorifying and you're treating yourself rather than worrying about others. And so he just felt like, he says, instead of lifting for yourself, why don't you go out and chop some wood?
Lifting for yourself, like lifting weights, because as you guys know, Arnold was a bodybuilder champion, right? In his early 20s, I believe. Yeah. So lifting for yourself here means lifting weights. Instead of lifting weights just for yourself, for you to get stronger, why don't you go out and chop some wood? Like, go to the forest, you have the trees or, the wood there, and you have an axe and you chop the tree or you chop the wood, okay, to cut wood. All right?
Why don't you go and shuffle some coal?
Let me go back here a little bit, guys. Coal, right?
It's bodybuilding because he felt like that what he was called, this is Selbstfrönung. Selbstfrönung, which means you're kind of like glorifying and you're treating yourself rather than worrying about others. And so he just felt like, he says, instead of lifting for yourself, why don't you go out and chop some wood?
You see here, why don't you go and shovel some coal, okay? Coal is that black thing that we use like for barbecue, for example. Here in Brazil, we are big on barbecues. We love making barbecue. So we usually need coal to make the fire. Yeah, we make the fire with coal, and then we start grilling the meat. Arnold comes from, I believe, a cold place in Austria, right? So, I imagine that people there used to use coal in the winter, to warm up their houses and feel warmer inside the house, right? So why don't you go and shovel? Shovel is like, you have a shovel, you have the object, and you shovel coal like that, right? So why don't you go shovel some coal?
Why don't you go and shovel some coal? And this way you help some older person that has coal delivered, shovel coal into their basement. So they have coal in the winter and they have wood in the winter, and you help an older person that is not able to do those things anymore. That's what you should do. And then you get also muscles. Then you also get strong. Then you also can kind of look good. Look at those guys like Laszlo Papp.
That's an interesting idea, right, guys? Because what his father used to tell him was, yes, you can do something for yourself, but serve other people in the process. You are helping other people, but at the same time, you are also helping yourself because you're also building muscles. You're also looking good, So it's not like serve other people and forget about yourself. It's not really that. I like that way of thinking,
Laszlo Papp is a boxer from Hungary. He was the European champion in boxing. How does he train? There's pictures all over the place where he's chopping wood in the forest. I said, that's how he trains. That's how he becomes a boxing champion. He doesn't just think about his boxing. He thinks about other people too. So that was his rap.
That was his rap. That was my father's rap. This means that was the song, let's say, that his father always sang to him and probably to his brother. Yeah, things that his father would always repeat and say, trying to instill, remember, that principle, those ideas into Arnold here.
And so he says, you got to be useful. You got to go and use your talent to help people.
Very nice, right? You got to be useful in your community, in society, in the world. You got to be useful. You got to go use your talent to help people.
And so that's where it kind of came from. And it's something that was really interesting because I think you and I, we talked about that in the past, that sometimes things come to you as a kid, but then later on in life, it kind of comes back. It's like kind of you lie there at 6 o'clock in the morning and you want to stay in bed and you say, wait a minute. I heard his voice from my father screaming, be useful. People have never accomplished anything. No country ever was built by people sleeping in.
That was really cool. People have never accomplished anything sleeping in. When you sleep in, you stay in bed until late. You don't wake up early, you sleep in. You stay in bed, sleeping, lazy until, 11, midday, 1 p.m., people sleeping in, okay? So no country was ever built by people sleeping in. You see? Interesting.
Austria was not built by people sleeping in. America was not built by people sleeping in. People struggled, people suffered, people worked their asses off to build this country.
You see, people struggled. When you struggle, you have a hard time. You have difficulties doing something. Things are not so easy for you to do. People struggled, people suffered, people worked their asses off. Remember the expression, to work your ass off, to work really hard? Okay? So that's his mindset, right? He comes from this upbringing and also mindset of, man, nothing in life is easy. We suffer, we struggle, we have to work hard to make things happen. Yeah? Really cool.
So do you want to go now and sleep in? So then you start feeling guilty and you just jump out of bed right away because those sounds, you hear those sounds, they come back. And it's kind of motivational because it really has driven me my whole life.
Very nice use of the word drive here. You see, this idea, this thought of listening to his father screaming in his mind, be useful, has driven him his whole life. When something drives you, something motivates you. It helps you keep going, okay? So for example, you are learning English, right? That's why we're here watching this video on Sunday, right? Think to yourself, what is driving you? What is driving this desire to learn English and become a better English speaker? In other words, what is motivating you? You see, that's your drive. The thing that is driving you, that is motivating you to watch this video, for example, on a Sunday now. You got it?
And it has pushed me. That's why I called the book Be Useful, because it's kind of an overall title. And then within that book, I put all the chapters in there. If it is, have a clear vision, or, never think small, or work your ass off, or sell, and all of those kind of things, shift gears, or whatever it is. I've put this kind of lessons together, which were very crucial lessons.
Very nice word here. I use this word all the time here on the podcast, guys. Crucial. Something crucial is something really, really important. So very crucial lessons, very important lessons he shares in his new book.
That I've learned throughout my life and throughout the various different careers.
Some of you have already asked me about this meaning, this word throughout. You see, I've learned throughout my life. This is like during his life, let's say. During his life, from beginning until now, he has learned these things throughout his life. Okay, so throughout has this idea of a period, during, all right?
But especially in the gym. Most of my lessons I learned in the gym because there's no better place than to learn in the gym, because this is where, the rubber hits the road, right?
Let me go back here, guys, just a little bit. He used a very nice idiom here, a nice expression. The gym is the place where the rubber hits the road, okay? Another variation for this expression is where the rubber meets the road. So you might hear some people saying, this is where the rubber hits the road, like he's saying here. Or you might hear some people saying, this is where the rubber meets the road, okay? This expression basically means that this is when something that is only theoretical is put to practice or put to the test, okay? So, or you can also think about it as when things get really serious, when the situation gets serious or hard, this is where the rubber hits the road, okay? For example, imagine it's January 1st, and you are really inspired because it's a new year. And then because you are so inspired, you design, you write down this beautiful plan or schedule, this perfect schedule that you have for the whole year, that's beautiful in theory, on paper. But then as we start, getting into the year, living day to day, getting to the weekly routine, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where that plan of yours is going to be put to test and see if you can really implement all those beautiful things and perfect things you plan to do. All right. This is an example when you can use this kind of expression. Okay. So going back to Arnold here, the gym is the place for him where the rubber hits the road, where you can really see maybe how strong or how resilient you are as a person, at least in his experience.
Rubber hits the road, right? I mean, this is where if you don't do the forced reps, if you don't work until it burns and until it hurts, and then you go beyond that and do the forced reps, you're not going to grow.
Nice, right? Really, really cool. Let me just give you one last example with this expression to really, make this point. Imagine you spend years in your native country studying English by yourself, okay? And then you finally have the chance to travel to an English-speaking country and stay a few months there. This is where the rubber hits the road, in the sense that that experience will allow you to actually put your English to the test, to see if all these years that you spent before learning and studying English really made the difference and really paid off. Got it?
So now you get this message that only through pain you can actually grow. Only through pain you can go, and discomfort and misery you can kind of grow also as a person.
You see, I've talked about this before in the past, right, guys? Growth requires discomfort and some pain, right? And he also believes the same thing. He believes that through discomfort, through pain, we grow as people.
Not just physically, not just muscle-wise, but as a person. Through comfort, no one ever grows.
Nice, right? Through comfort, no one ever grows. Something to think about, right?
You only can grow through comfort and going through, things where you have to have discipline and where you struggle. If it's in the military, if it is in a real good job, or if it is studying in the university, the more those kids struggle and study all night and go through hardship, the further they're going to go. Look at the students that go through medical college and all this stuff, how many sleepless nights they have and all this.
Another nice collocation he used here, right? Let me go back just a little bit. He said sleepless nights.
University, the more those kids struggle and study all night and go through hardship, the further they're going to go. Look at the students that go.
You see, we have the word there, sleepless, and then nights. Sleepless nights when you don't sleep so well. Sleepless nights, okay? The suffix less, when added to the word, means zero or none of that thing. So sleep, okay. Sleep less, no sleep. Cash, okay, money. Cash less, no money, okay? So sleepless nights. And he also used a very nice word here a little bit before, which was further. You see, the more this kid struggles and studies all night and goes through hardship. Hardship is difficult situations, challenges, okay? It's another nice word, hardship. The further they're going to go. Further is the comparative for far, okay? The word far, distant, far. The comparative could be further than, and the superlative is the furthest, okay? You can also say farther or the farthest. He's using further here. So the more the kid struggles, the further they're going to go. Like the more distant, the more things those kids will be able to accomplish in life, okay?
Study all night and go through hardship, the further they're going to go. Look at the students that go through medical college and all this stuff, how many sleepless nights they have and all this. So this is what it takes.
How did your father say be useful in German? What is the way to say that properly? Or how would he say it to you?
Well, he would have different versions of it. He would just say, hart arbeiten.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Work hard.
Work hard.
helfe andere,
Help others.
help others. Don't just interested in yourself. So it was kind of like a combination of all of those things that he was through together. And he would just always, kind of like be very critical of people that didn't do that.
When you are critical of someone, you criticize that person. So his father apparently used to be very critical of people who didn't work hard, who were lazy, like, oh, look at those people, those lazy people. They never work hard. They never do anything. Okay. So that's being critical of something or of someone.
Remember that my father's job was a police officer. He was with the Gendarmerie, which was the country police. It was all about protecting people and keeping law and order. So that's serving the people. And the same is when you talk about music. Music is to entertain people. So his whole thing about learning to play music and to play 6 instruments, the trumpet, the flugelhorn, the saxophone, the clarinet, all of those different, instruments, it made him a great performer. He wrote music, he conducted music.
Guys, conduct music is what a maestro does in an orchestra, You have the musicians in an orchestra who play the instruments, but there's usually a maestro, one person, one guy, up there, conducting the music, like directing the musicians of what to play, when to play, or how to play, right?
So it was all about what can you do for other people. So he would go to the city park out there, and he would have concerts, he would play.
You see, he's talking about the past, right? What his father used to do. But notice that he's not saying used to, he's saying would, right? Talking about his father. You see, going back a little bit, look.
So it was all about what can you do for other people. So he would go to the...
You see, he would go to the city park out there. He would have concerts. What else?
To the city park out there, and he would have concerts. He would play concerts.
He would play concerts. He would play funerals. This is the same idea as he used to. He used to play concerts. He used to play funerals. Okay?
He would play in funerals. Whenever a police officer died, he would always play at the funerals and direct the music.
You see, really nice. So that's another way you can use to talk about the past, like past habits. It's similar to used to. Okay? The difference here is that you can only use would like this with action verbs. So he would play, he would go, he would work till late. Okay? Used to can be used with action verbs too. He used to go, he used to play, but also with stative verbs. He used to love, for example, or he used to know. All right?
Conduct the music and all of that stuff. So he was always interested in serving the people. And so,
guys, this is a really cool chunk for you to memorize too. Okay? Let me go back just a little bit here.
So it was all about what can you do for other people. So he would go to the city park out there, and he would have concerts. He would play concerts. He would play in funerals. Whenever a police officer died, he would always play at the funerals and direct the music and conduct the music and all of that stuff. So he was
here, interested in, okay? So remember, guys, you are always interested in something or in doing something, okay? So he was always interested in serving the people. Don't say interested about, for example, I'm interested about this. No, I'm interested in this, okay? That's the correct preposition to use with interested, okay? You are interested in something or in someone.
He was always interested in serving the people, and so he was really into that.
Nice. He was really into that. When you are really into something, you really enjoy doing something. You are really interested in doing that. I hope that you are really into learning English, right? When you are into learning English, you really enjoy it. You get excited doing it. Got it? So guys, that's it. That's a little bit of this interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I hope you learned a lot from this interview today, don't forget to check out my pronunciation course on pre-sale, link in the description and as a pinned comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber yet. I wish you all a happy Sunday, and I'll be talking to you very soon in the upcoming video. Bye-bye.